asking you actually about the supporters, because through all the sort of scrutiny and criticism, they've been there and they felt that they swung right behind you personally tonight. Did you feel that?
I think we had a difficult season, but one thing was constant. They remained being with us, backing the team in all the difficult moments. And we are very pleased with it, and we want to pay them back.
Why did you think it was important to address them, to speak to them sort of personally?
So last game, but it's finish the season. Still 2 games to go, but away from Old Trafford, and we want to thank them for keeping with us, sticking with us, and I really appreciate that. The team appreciates it. The whole club appreciates it. We are in difficult times. We are in a transition in this club, and the results are not what they could expect. We also had our reasons for it. And with all the injuries, but still they have had a disappointing season as we had.
Was tonight maybe a light at the end of the tunnel performance? 3 young players scored, players back from injury. Do you know what I mean? After some real tough times, just a little kind of bit of light in the horizon where maybe some good times are ahead.
I'm very pleased. So we had in the last months, we had many games where we put ourselves in winning positions, but then we couldn't draw it off the line. Had also to do with our back 4. We didn't have options there, also not to sub. And today then is very good that we can bring Licha Martinez, an experienced player, a warrior, and that helps the team in such difficult moments.
I must ask you about another experienced player, because we've asked you about him when it hasn't gone so well, but Casemiro tonight?
I think played a very good game and uses his experience, his calmness. Very pleased with his performance today.
What about the 3 goal scorers, 3 young goal scorers? Again, a vision for the future maybe?
I thought just about this club is in a transition, and we have had a disappointed season. That's clear. But in this disappointment, we progress some players, some good young players, as Højlund, as Diallo, as Garnacho, as Kobe Mainoo, and it's good that 3 are on the score sheet.
How important is it that you win that cup final, and do you think that will give a different sort of impression of the whole season? If you could, I know the task is massive.
I don't talk about this moment, about FA Cup final, and we have to talk about Brighton. And leave this behind, go further. Next game is Brighton, is the most important game, and then we will focus us on the FA Cup final.
Okay, I want to ask you another question though about the future. If the club sticks with you, Eric, and they've been in this cycle for a while now of changing a manager every couple of years, if they stick with you, if they back you with what you know about the players and the squad and the progress, where can you take this club, given the backing?
That is, I can't answer tonight this question.
Why not?
Because it's a very long answer.
Well, we've got time. I've done already long interviews tonight.
I know, but I don't think this is the right moment to talk about this. I have to talk about next game, and then after that game is coming a really good game, a great final, and that is a huge achievement. Even in a disappointed season, we are in the FA Cup final, and we have to enjoy it, and of course we have to go there for winning.
Let me just try one more, because it's been really tough, and there's been tough questions and scrutiny and criticism, like you said, and you've been positive through it all. So you're not a robot. How tough has it been? How tough has this season been?
It's tough, but I have...
For you, I mean, personally.
Yeah, but I have to... I see the positives. I see that this team is developing. I know the reasons why we are not performing. No team will perform when the whole back 4 is not available. Across the season, the holding midfielder is not available. Even striker, Rasmus Højlund, 3 times injured. Rashford, also injured. So we have had our problems across the season, and that has a negative impact on the results. But down that line, you see players performing, and you see players progressing like the youngsters, and that is very positive. So there is a high potential in this club, we all know, but I think it's also really what people can see, like Kobe Mainoo, Garnacho, Diallo, Højlund. So there are players who has the class, and also together with the experienced players who has really class, like Bruno, for instance. So there is a potential, Andre Onana, and I can keep going like Licha Martinez, Luke Shaw, and I don't want to forget anyone.
I to keep going then.
I know. I thought also you can say Dalot is playing a fantastic season. Scott McTominay also plays a very good season. So there are also many positives in this season, but I can't mention this. Do you know why?
No.
No. In the end of the day, we have to win trophies. And in the Premier League and in the Champions League, we didn't perform what people expect from us.
Okay. Thank you. Well done tonight.
You're welcome.
Eric, thank you very much. Of course, winning the last home match in Old Trafford this season is a very special thing. How important is this victory tonight?
Every win is important, but of course this win is also very important. We had some disappointed moments lately. Also, in the last months, we put ourselves many times in winning positions, but then we couldn't hold the win. And that had also to do that players in the back four were not available. Now today we have some players back, and then you see we are more stable. And I've seen a team, very good spirit, and who was very capable to be in the duels and be in the fight, but also to play some good football.
Did you enjoy Ahmad goals? Did you love it? How sweet is that?
Yeah, it was a brilliant goal. And you see down some negatives, and our young players are developing, like Ahmad. And we are really pleased with his performance and his great goal.
And how happy are you with Casemiro on his way as he played today?
I think he played very good, very stable. He showed leadership, and we know all how good he is. And I'm sure we will take benefit from this.
Last questions. You spoke to fans after the match, after this victory. Which message do you want to send to them?
Did you hear? Huh?
Not all of it.
Not all of it, but I said everything. No, but
it was very important, of course. Yeah.
It was important that the fans, they stuck with us and they backed us all through the season, even though we had a difficult season. But also, we go to a cup final and we go to Brighton first. But and we need the backing again, and I'm sure they will do. And you see, we are together. There's a strong bond between the team and.
You start naming players, you can't leave anybody out. Who am I not thinking about? It's extraordinary the spirit he has. You have to say that, right? The character he's shown all season.
Yeah, you do admire him. But he seems really upbeat there, saying it's a big win. But again, you're not gauged at Man United when you beat Newcastle at home. It's about competing in the big games. And again, you're not going to win every week or win championships every year. But you hope that you're up there competing. And Man United have been nowhere near it. But he is trying to be positive. And I like that he's talking about the young players. But you got to get the mix right. The experienced players haven't done enough. There's been too many injuries, and I do appreciate where he's coming from. Defensively, the injuries have been, has been huge. It's been a huge setback. But overall, you still digest all that. But still, you look at it, the record, the amount of games they've lost, the goals they've conceded, the lack of goals they've scored, the position in the league, the minus 3 goals or minus 2 or 3 goals. All these things are not good to look at. But you hope he's given out a chance in the summer. And what they need to do is, again, we go back to it, that recruitment, they have to go out and buy some. We were talking here, maybe 4 or 5 world-class players, a couple of centre-halves, a couple of strikers, someone in midfield. You know, it's a long way back for this club.
But before we come to the shopping list, it seems every day. Let's have a look then at the current squad and talk about which players of this group are there to be relied upon. I mean, he started the list for us with the young players he mentioned. You can see on asterisks those who are out of contract.
But that helps, doesn't it? It helps there's a few players out of contract.
Who are you building around, Wayne?
You have to build it around Bruno. I think you have to build the team around Bruno. He's the one player with quality. He has got fight in him. I think the young players, and then I think all the other players get rid of him.
Sorry?
I think you keep the young players, you keep Bruno, and I think it has to be a massive clear-out. It has to be.
Right.
It's not going to be in one year, but I think it's going to be over the next couple of years.
Well, let's just go through it block by block then. So are you keeping the goalkeeper, Onana? Good enough for United?
I think he's got better. I think he had a shaky start to the season, but I think he has got better.
Defenders, Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire?
No, for me, Dallow's done well. Harry Maguire's had an in-and-out season. But to compete, they need better players to compete at this league. And don't get me wrong, these players are good players and good, Premier League players. But to compete with Man City, with Liverpool, with Arsenal, they need better players.
What about in the forwards, Marcus Rashford?
Well, we all know Marcus has got the ability, the capabilities to play at the top level, and we haven't seen it. I just wondered, is it time for Marcus for himself to go and play elsewhere? I don't know. I think he has to ask himself that question, and I want him to stay. I want him to, break records at this club. But he needs to get his head right and get his head down, work hard and get back to the player we know he can be.
Right, does anyone disagree with what Wayne said there? Keep the young players, keep Bruno, and pretty much clear the
Manchester
decks for everybody
United
else.
has always been built around the young players, coming through the academy. And if they continue to do what they're doing, they should be playing. It's as simple as that. Transition, we've been in transition for a very, very long time. And at some stage we're going to have to stop using that word transition, because we can't be transitioning for 10 years.
Yeah, but he finished third last year.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
The 8th in the league, so the transition's going backwards.
Yeah.
And we talk about moving players on, but it'll be very hard to move a lot of them players on. It's okay, obviously, lads who wrote a contract, but there's players here on huge money, and some of them won't be going anywhere. They won't be budging unless they get proper, obviously, paid off. So we talk about recruitment, but getting rid of players. And a lot of the players have been given a lot of opportunities. And there's also worry that these players are constantly injured. If you're constantly injured, you're no good to anybody. Okay, you can listen, every club will have its few injuries, but there's certain players in that group there, you're going, they're always injured. You can't rely on these players to turn up week in, week out and play for Man United.
It's like Martial, for instance. I play with him. He's a really nice guy. And where's he been? I can't remember the last time I've seen him play. Like, what's up with him? What's
at
his injury,
at least his contract's up, isn't it? So, no, it is. At least that's a plus. You go, listen, off you go. But again, it won't be easy. And it's well and good us sitting around here going, he needs to go. But the reality is it's going to be really, really tough.
Patrick asked the question, didn't he, to Erik ten Hag about if you're here. Does that have to be a question right now? Is that a doubt, Wayne?
I think, of course, that's a question for the owners who are at the club now. And
will the question in their mind be, can somebody else get more out of this group of players?
Yeah, I'm sure it will, and they'll be looking
transition quicker.
But they'll be looking how they're going to build, how they're going to rebuild. Ultimately, the mess the club's in at the minute, on the pitch, off the pitch, and who's the right man to move the club forward? Is that Erik ten Hag, or is it someone else coming in? And I do feel sorry for the manager at the minute, because as we've seen the problems he's got, but I'm sure these new owners are doing all the homework to see if there's anyone else to come in, or whether they keep Erik.
Yeah, for me personally, the gap won't be closed within the next couple of years. And it's that simple. You've got to be very honest. If you look at the gap between Manchester United now and Manchester City, that tells you everything. You've got to close that gap. So there's no way you're going to close that gap within 2 years. And then Manchester City, they're going to come close to Manchester United, because they're going to look to kick on again next season. So that's going to take time. I mean, that's a building process. That could be 4 or 5 years.
Well, you look at Man City, when their new owners come in, it took them 15 years to win the Champions League.
Yeah. Well,
so that's potentially what you might be looking at. You hope not, but
could happen a lot quicker. Get Wayne Rooney as director of football. Swing the axe. All right, what about the Newcastle perspective? Here is Eddie Howe, now with Patrick.
Certainly had enough chances to win the football match. Is that your chief frustration, or are there a few other bits and pieces as well?
Well, I think, a combination of we had enough chances to do more, but also the way we defended the 3 goals wasn't good enough. And this season, compared to last, that's probably been the biggest difference. We've conceded goals similar to the type that we did today, which is uncharacteristic for us. Something we have to change longer term going into next year.
With the first goal, you said before the match, Kieran Trippier hadn't trained much. I feel like that's something, if he's not quite so rusty with a few more miles in the legs, he's not sort of caught in like that. Agree or not?
I'm reluctant to focus on one player. I think when you look back through the goals we've conceded today, I think there's multiple errors in all 3 goals. I don't think Manchester United really hurt us a great deal. They've conceded 3 goals. I mean, that you can't do away from home. We looked good, I thought, going forward. We did create chances. We probably didn't get enough bodies in the box in the key moments during that first half. I thought the goalkeeper made some saves. The woodwork denied us in the second half. But we scored 2 goals. That should be enough to get something from the game.
Yeah, it's the timing of the second goal, a real killer, because you came out in the second half really strongly, got level, and really from their first attack of the second half, you found yourself back behind.
Yeah, you feel the momentum's with us. You feel at 1-1 we're going to go on and win the game. There was a much better feel about us in the second half. I thought we were prepared to make things happen rather than wait for the things to happen. And the second goal from a set play, look, as I said, it's a combination of errors. It's not about one person, and we know we have to do better from that situation.
So was that the half-time message then? Just a bit more front foot, a bit more taking of the initiative?
Yeah, I thought we were good in the first half without being as good as we needed to get the goal that would have turned the game in our favour. I thought we were a little bit reactive instead of more proactive, which we were in the second half. We created numerous opportunities from high pressing regains. We looked a lot better. We scored, and everything was with us in that moment.
That said, in the first half, you had a very strong looking penalty appeal that certainly cost Anthony Gordon like half his sock. Your view?
I thought it was a penalty. I think it's one of those you have to see 2 or 3 times to see where the contact is. And that's what I thought VAR was good at, slowing it down and making sure you can see where the contacts happen. You can see why Anthony's gone down. I think if you're looking at it from the wrong angle, you possibly don't see it. But for me, it was clear.
What is your take on VAR, Eddie? I only asked the broader question because the suggestion today that the Premier League clubs will vote on scrapping it.
Yeah, I've always been in an era that the referee makes the decision, and I'd still back that, even if it means we don't get penalties like today, because I think there are more positives than negatives.
Oh, right, so you would, if it was left to you, you'd take it away?
Yeah, I'd possibly keep it for offsides, but I'd like more power with the referees.
OK, so final day, if you win, very good chance you'll be playing European football next season. You'd have taken that, wouldn't you, during the dark months of the winter with all those injuries?
Yeah, I get asked these questions a lot where you're sort of hypothetically putting yourself in the situation. I don't know. In this moment, we're just disappointed not to win today. We felt it was an opportunity for us to grab Europe rather than be looking around at other results. But that's what we'll have to do.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you assess that?
I thought it was an OK performance without being great. And I think to win here, you have to be much better than we were in the smaller details. In the goals we conceded were really poor. I thought as an attacking force we looked good today, scored 2 goals, but when you score 2 away from home, you hope that's enough to get something from the match.
Were the goals that you conceded, a couple of them mistakes that could have been avoided?
I think whenever you concede there's always mistakes, but it's never about the individual. It's happened too many times for us away from home this year. Our defensive record on the road's been nowhere near good enough. That's something we need to reflect on and work on longer term. We're just looking at tonight. It's a game we feel we could have won, and we're disappointed with ourselves.
Well, the big frustration be as you leave here that it's now out of your hands in terms of European qualification, one way or the other. Even if you win at the weekend, you need either Manchester United to lose one or Chelsea.
Yeah, and it was in our hands. Now it's not in our hands. Now we're looking at potentially other results, but still we have to beat Brentford, which is very difficult to do anyway. So we've got to do our bit first. But I can only look at today. I think tonight the European qualification and all those things are the product of how you perform, and just really frustrated because I thought that game was there for us.
Did you learn anything about your players tonight?
I think you always do, and I think when we look at the season as a whole away from home, our record's not been good enough for the team that we are. And that's a combination of not scoring enough goals, conceding some poor goals, and highlighted by today. We needed to do better in those 3 moments.
We found out just before the game tonight that the Premier League meeting in the summer, that the clubs will get a chance to vote on whether they want to keep VAR next season. Did you get let down by VAR tonight? Should you have had a penalty in the first half?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was clear. I don't think it was clear until I saw one of the replays. For me, then you can see there's clear impact on Anthony as he's running at that speed. It only takes us, a small change of his foot to make him go down. For me, it was a clear penalty. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me maybe here.
Does that change how you would like your club to vote on whether to keep VAR next season or to maybe get rid?
Yeah, no, I've always been quite clear for me. I prefer the referees to have more power, even if they make some wrong decisions, which they will. But I think VAR's doing the same thing. For me, keep VAR for offsides, but give more control back to the referees.
Thanks, Eddie Howe. And for Newcastle United, they've come up against a Chelsea team in this race for Europe who've suddenly found some form. One defeat in 14 for them. They've won 4 on the bounce, one at Brighton tonight. And Newcastle United go to Brentford on the final day. If they win, they will finish in the top 7. But they can't celebrate because if Manchester United win the FA Cup, they will take that final European spot and it will only go down to the top 6. They've just got to look after their own job, haven't they, Andy?
They have to. And however you look at the season, if they qualify for Europe or don't qualify for Europe, they've had another positive season. Champions League was tough for them, run out of players, basically injuries, but they've picked themselves up, they've dusted themselves down and finished really, really well. So to finish possibly, 7th, 8th?
Do you think in the grand scheme of things they're ahead of where they might have expected to be at this stage?
Are they? Year before last fighting relegation and the year after Champions League and the year after possibly getting into Europe. Of course they are. They are punching well above their weight, but fair play to them.
Could be a few twists, couldn't there, on the last day?
Yeah, there's some tough games. Listen, Newcastle, and I think they would be kicking themselves if they don't get into Europe. I think when you've seen that and you think a couple more results to get and you're in Europe, I think it'd be a setback for them if they don't get into Europe. Yeah, they've made progress, but you want to keep that momentum going. The feel-good factor is good for the club, recruitment, getting players in. No, I think it'd be a setback if they don't do it now. But listen, they've got a tough game the weekend.
What do you think, Wayne? Is there a lot to be optimistic about for Newcastle?
Yeah, I think this season is probably where they're meant to be. I think last season they probably got there a bit too earlier than what they probably thought they would, and this season's probably where they're meant to be. And next season, I think you might see them kick on a little bit more.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. Enjoyed your company tonight. Andy, Roy, Wayne, thank you very much.
You were right at the heart of that, and obviously you'll be stood here disappointed. Your take on the game, first of all?
I thought we played all right. I think defensively, away from home, we've been poor. We've conceded too many sloppy goals this year, so we have to fix that. I don't know if it's a mentality thing, but we certainly have to get better in that area. But I thought we created a lot. We just didn't take our chances enough. Yeah,
I'm just going to go there, really. Attack-wise, even despite conceding 3 goals, you had enough chances to win the football match, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't think we can blame anyone other than ourselves. I mean, we must have had 2 or 3, maybe even 4, like really one-on-one chances, which on another day we usually score. We're quite a clinical team, but today just weren't our day.
Okay, how are you? Because you've really sort of hobbled in here, and we had a shot, I think, during the second half of half your sock missing, so we know when it happened. Firstly, how are you?
Really sore. I'm not too sure how good my ankle will be, but I mean, I've watched the incident back. It's a clear penalty. I don't mind the referee getting it wrong on the pitch because it's a difficult decision. Things happen really quickly, but I don't understand what the point in VAR is then, because it's there to correct mistakes. He goes down my Achilles and pushes me in the back, and then Casemiro come against the ball, but it's 2 fouls before that. So I honestly don't see the point in it.
So can you just tell us, at that time, is it quite clear to you, even in that split second, like what's happened? Casemiro hasn't fouled you, but Amrabat has.
Yeah, I knew straight away. That's why I didn't appeal, because I thought I don't mind the referee not giving it. Like, it's fast, but I'll wait for the VAR to check. And you can see me telling my teammates, "Don't worry, it's a penalty, it's a clear penalty."
Right.
And then we carry on, and I'm just like, me sock. I've got no sock left, so how can it be possible? I don't understand the point of it. I really don't.
It's very okay. So it's very topical for you to say you don't understand the point of VAR because it's been in the news today. I don't know if you've had time to see.
No,
you've been playing a vote between the Premier League clubs on whether it's scrapped or not. Okay. So I know it's not up to you, but what's your view? You're playing the league. You're a big player in it.
It's a big decision, but I just think I'm actually quite fond of it. But it's just
I've never heard anyone else say that.
Not in terms of like it should. I'm fond of the idea. It should be a thing that works in the league, but it's not. There's constantly too many mistakes. I mean, like I said, we've missed too many chances there to blame anything else, but we could go 1-0 up and then the game changes. It's a clear and obvious mistake. Just, I don't know how you can get it wrong. So either get rid of it or get better. It's very simple.
Fair enough. Look, and I have to lastly ask, because you said I'm not sure how my ankle is. We'd be hoping for England and the Euros in the summer. What do you mean by that?
Listen, no matter how that ankle is, my aim will be to be there. And I won't let a sore ankle get in the way of that. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good to hear that.
A young man with a lot of determination, a lot of focus as well, and a lot of frustration tonight over this penalty decision, which he thought was quite comfortable, as you heard, going into the hands of VAR. They decided it didn't meet the threshold for a clear and obvious error. Andy Cole, what's your thought?
I think all of us here sitting here, you know, we all thought it was a penalty. Amrabat he's clipped his heel in the box, and if I'm playing and I'm in that position, I'm thinking it's a penalty as well. Casemira's won the ball, we're not complaining about that, but the decision beforehand, you know, we can have a look here, and for me, it's a penalty, definitely.
Yeah. There's the contact, and you know, in the letter of the law, it doesn't talk about intent. Careless challenge is also deemed a penalty.
Saying that last week, a couple of Newcastle players were quick to go down. Maybe that didn't help this, but we do think this probably is.
And it raises the issue of the VAR, doesn't it?
I don't think his ankle's hanging off, by the way. I think he's got a little scratch on the back of his foot. But no, I think it's a penalty. Obviously, Amrabat has caught him, and it's a clear penalty. And what we were talking about before the game with VAR, it's, you know, if you need to get it right. If not, then you're just creating a lot of frustration. If
VAR is going to stay, and as you heard from the interview there that Patrick was saying, there is going to be a motion at the Premier League AGM in June as to the future of VAR, with Wolves tabling a motion that it should be scrapped. So if it does stay, do we want to change the level of the bar? Because at the moment it seems like it's very much what happens on field stays. It's very rare now that we see an overturn. Are we comfortable with that, or do we want to change that?
I think if there's no overturn, what's the point in having it?
Well, do we want to re-referee? I suppose I'm asking, do we want to re-referee the game from Stockley Park?
No, you want the referee to referee the game on the football pitch. It's that simple. You know, human error, it happens. You know, like I said, I'm not a big fan of VAR, but when you see decisions like that, you turn and say to yourself, so what are you doing?
So it's just about tweaking the threshold then, is it?
More investment? Is that, you need more investment? Yeah, make it better.
If you're going to stick with it, make it better.
I think you look at the goal line technology, it works.
Yes,
because it gets every decision right. So if you get something that works, I don't think anyone will complain. But if you've got something...
But that's binary, and this is something that we're talking about, which is always going to be subjective.
If you've got something which is broken and you know, you don't know whether it's working, then I don't think you can have it. There's too much at stake.
Yeah.
Support, and they were terrific towards the team. Of course, they've got a cup final to play in a couple of weeks' time, which you're all delighted about. But the atmosphere in the stadium going round the place when the lads finished, and especially towards the manager, who's, you know, he's had to have a certain amount of resilience because he's had a couple of... he's had a lot to deal with over the last few weeks or months, and the guy still sticks his chin out and comes back swinging, which is great to see.
Yeah, what did you make of that address from Erik ten Hag?
Well, I think it went down really, really well with everybody concerned. They were really right.
Manchester United defender and former Newcastle manager, of course, Steve Bruce, talking to us live from Old Trafford. So let's have a look back at the key incidents across the 90 minutes, and it started well, of course. Manager, of course, Steve Bruce, talking to us live from Old Trafford. So let's have a look back at the key incidents across the 90 minutes. And it started well, of course, for Manchester United, Kobbie Mainoo taking the lead. The ball got to him. It was all about the way he finished it that stood out, Owen. The ball got to him. It was all about the way he finished it that stood out, Owen.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you have a defensive midfield player like Amrabat, when the ball's on the other side, sometimes you can just make a forward run. You know, you just make a forward run. Obviously, they got the back four in there, Les, and you see Kratt there just pointing to Guimaraes. He's got to pick up Mainoo, but he doesn't. And then Trippier,
Trippier doesn't go to the ball. And do you know what? I look here and sometimes I wonder, does he think he's offside? Because look at the linesman straight after. And that's why the casual finish.
Yeah, so he thought he wasn't going to count.
Yeah, right. and so all of a sudden you think, let me just I'll stick this in the back of the net. And then you realise he scored a goal, because sometimes I think a midfield player gets there and they may panic a little bit. He was so cool and calm with the finish. I was like, wow. And then when you look at it again, he looks around at the linesman because he thinks he might have been offside, and so he just, caresses it into the bottom of the back of the net. But bad defending from Newcastle, but great finish from him.
Yeah, but
he reacts too late, and then the ball's in the back of the net. You're 1-0 down.
A lot of that's also timing. If you haven't played, he hasn't played. He hasn't been in the back four. They shuffle up. He drops off. He's in between two minds. Once he realises he's in two, it's too late. And Les makes a great point. He should have just gone to the ball and tried to stop it.
into the second half, and you can understand Eddie Howe would have had a few words with the Newcastle players because they weren't quite at it in the first 45. It only took them 4 minutes to get level.
Yeah, we spoke about it and we said, like, you know, they've just not been at the races. We've hardly seen Isak, and then all of a sudden he gets on the ball, plays a great through. Ball. And great ball from Murphy, and this is an absolute fantastic finish. I can't tell you how good this is. Real difficult skill because he's hit this on the outside of his boot. But the momentum takes, it's a great cross, just gets the outside of his boot on it. It's a great finish to keep that down.
I mean, Amrabat makes a bit of a mess of it. But we said about why not have a right-footer play on the right wing so you can cross the ball?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's you just whip it into an area, there's a big gap there. But I tell you what, some finish.
Felt, come on, they can go on and get a few more here. This is, you know, they've had a bit of a telling off in the change rooms.
Yeah.
They're going to take it on from there.
Yeah, a crucial few minutes.
Of a telling off in the change rooms.
Yeah.
They're going to take it on from there.
Yeah, a crucial few minutes, actually, which followed, and we saw Newcastle have a terrific chance. Isak's effort was clearly cleared by Amrabat, and moments later, Ahmad with a moment to remember.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you've got to hang around the box, it'll come to you, you know. I said that to my son and his team. I said, somebody just hang out on the edge of the box, you'll get a shot. Yeah. Ahmad does that, absolutely hits it as clean as you can hit a ball.
I mean, it has to be said, a poor header for Murphy, who should clear that at the near post, but it goes across the thing. But look at it, poor header for Murphy, who should clear that at the near post, but it goes across the thing. But look at this, as he strikes it, the ball stops oscillating. It just, you know, just takes the sting out of it. Just
You can tell the boys they have confidence in themselves and belief, and I think that's what you need as a United player. You need a bit of belief, you know, on that big stage. He looks comfortable wearing a United shirt.
Great outing from him against Newcastle with a goal and an assist. I mean, same question that I asked Steve, Owen, to you. Are you surprised he's had to wait so long? The other game that he had to make his Premier League, his first, he's had to wait so long. It was only the other game that he had to make his Premier League, his first start.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of United fans are probably surprised. But when you pay 90 million for Anthony, you know, you're probably going to have to, on his day, is an unbelievable player. You know, Bruno Fernandes, Højlund, they've got a lot of, you know, parts. So I'm not surprised it's been tough for him to find minutes. But I think he's playing now so they can figure out what's the plan for next season. Because you need to play him and then you can make a plan for some of these young guys.
Yeah. Manchester United built on their lead. They made it 3-1. 140 seconds after coming off the bench. Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah, we spoke a lot about him before the game. Was surprised to not see him in the starting lineup. But gets onto the pitch and he gets his opportunity. You know, great ball there from Fernandes just through the legs. And then here he shows a lot of calm, and for someone who hasn't scored goals in 10, takes that...
Well, 1 in 10, actually.
One in 10, sorry. Great ball from Fernandes there through the legs of Joe Linton, and then Højlund does the rest. Goes through the legs of the defender. As well, Hall, but and blindsides the goalkeeper, and that's exactly what he needed.
It's almost the perfect kind of cameo performance, isn't it, from Højlund?
Well, I think you need that when it's difficult. You need people to fight against it, and he'll do that. And they just got to surround him with people that are going to create some chances for him. I think he could score 25, 30 goals next season. If he gets a bit of service. He has kind of different... It looks like he has different partnerships all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, as a centre-forward, you're only used...
Who was crossing it from the left. Whereas he has kind of different... It looks like he has different partnerships all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, as a centre-forward, you're only as good as the people around you. You know, to score goals, you need people to provide opportunities for you, and he's not had a lot of that in recent weeks.
Yeah. But, you know, we've seen from Manchester United plenty of times this season where a lead has been narrowed and it's a kind of nervy kind of sprint to the finish line. Lewis Hall reduced the arrears to make it 3-2 with 3 minutes left on the clock, and a brief glimmer of hope as far as the visitors were concerned.
Yeah, you know, he's coming to the side, and there's a lot of talk about the money that they've paid for him, but again, he won't strike one as sweet as that. You know, absolutely great strike. Goalkeeper's got no chance, and then you thought, could they go on and get the sort of like equaliser, but it wasn't to be. But this is a fantastic strike. Just takes his time, lines it up, and bang, in the back of the net.
You always get scraps like that at the edge of the box because it's hard for them to head it hard away. If you just wait, take a touch. Brilliant goal from Lewis Hall. Again, you know, big money signing from Chelsea, hasn't really played much. Not many Newcastle signings have played much, have they? Tonali obviously had the situation that he did. But I think when they get everybody back fit and healthy in Newcastle next season, they're going to be a problem again.
You got a glimpse as well of Manchester United in 8th place going into the final weekend of the European football.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they've got silverware possibly to go for as well. I suppose the ultimate positive outlook is a trophy in the cabinet and European football next season. That'd make it for a pretty decent campaign, although City stand in their way.
Oh, definitely. I think the only problem now is you look at it, now it's a big 8.
Yeah.
So into the Champions League.
Yeah.
Recruitment right. Bounce back, get into the Champions League.
Yeah. All right, well, we've been speaking about him at length after his terrific performance today with his goal and assist. And I'm delighted to say young Amad Diallo joins us live from Old Trafford. Amad, very well done.
And I think today the team was motivated to play this game, and I see my teammate fighting for everyone, and we was happy to win the last game at home.
And you're still clearly smiling, and why not? Your first Premier League goal for Manchester United. Just talk us through it if you can.
Yeah, my first goal of Premier League for Manchester United, and I helped to score more goals for Manchester United. So I was happy for myself, but the most important thing was to win today.
So when the ball comes to you from the set piece, you clearly had only one thing on your mind.
Yeah, in the first half I tried to make the same, but I didn't score. And the second chance I say, why not? And I tried to make the same, but I didn't score. And the second chance I say, so this season was not easy for me. I got injured in pre-season, and scoring this goal in last games at home was a big feeling for me.
Interesting you there speak about waiting for your chance. How patient have you had to be to get that first start?
Yeah, I was waiting for a long time. Yeah, but the most important thing was to win.
Amad, I just want to say congratulations. I know it's been a difficult season, obviously, with injury and having to be so patient, but nice to see you smiling and dribbling and scoring and creating goals because,
Amad, has it given you a taste for more for next season?
I don't know. I am focused for the next game.
Yeah, and 2 big games left of this season, of course, not just on the final Sunday of the campaign, but have you possibly put yourself in the reckoning for Wembley?
Yeah, two game left. Two game left against Brighton and the final against City. So we need to be focused for the Brighton, and after the game we are focused for the City. But I think we need to go step by step. The season was not easy. We are focused for the City, but I think we need to go step by step.
Amad,
everything. So it was happy for me.
Amad, I have to say, we are really delighted to see you make your impact at Manchester United during these latter stages of the campaign. Well done. Good luck.
Thank
with
you so much.
Season and then come back there and have to wait for his time to get into the side, and he tops it off tonight with a fantastic goal and a fantastic try. But throughout the game, defended really well as well.
Yeah, and if there's been one word to describe him so far since he's made this impact, he's a bit of a live wire, right? If there's been one word to describe him so far since he's made this impact, he's a bit of a live wire, right?
Yeah, the thing I liked about that interview as well, you can tell he's a humble young man.
Yeah.
And I think you need to be humble at times because it's hard. You have to be patient. Sometimes you're not going to play, but you wait for that chance, but then you got to take it, And I think he's got confidence, he's got talent. But I love that interview because if you're talented and humble, you're going to go, I think, a long way. But he just needs people around him to help him and mentor him. But this young man can play. He's really good in tight areas, a good dribbler off that right-hand side. If he wants to come in and link it, a bit like Jadon really, to come in and link it. A bit like Jadon really in that sense. He's a really, really tidy footballer. And when he plays like that, if he plays like that, of him, you were smiling from ear to ear in that interview, wasn't he? And he deserved it because he He's a player.
Full of energy, up and down, up and down. We spoke about Gordon for Newcastle and his energy and what he provides to the side. And he does exactly the same for Manchester United. Lots of energy, wants to go at people, take people on, get shots off and create chances for other people as well as taking his own today.
Well, let's see if his head coach talks about him. Here are the post-match thoughts of the United head coach, Erik ten Hag. Now, that was an interesting end to the interview, talking about whether he'd be given backing in terms of recruitment for the next season. Over the interview in the end.
I think he did really well, because when you're there after a game, emotions are really high. And the interviewers are really skilled at getting stuff out of you when you don't want to say anything. Yeah. And I actually
You've been there by any chance?
And I think he did incredibly well to actually not. And I actually
You've been there by any chance?
And I think he did incredibly well to actually not really say anything. In that sense, I know people want to hear something in the moment, but he's right. Right now, it's a high. You won. You know, and potentially you can finish the season and win a trophy. But actually, his future is probably still up in the air in some ways. He probably knows that. The club is probably still debating, depending on how they finish the season. But I thought he did a good job kind of as home game of the season, but then also not getting caught up in, giving away anything in those interviews after the game. Well done.
As you said, it could have been easy for him to lose his rag a little bit. Yeah, we've seen a lot of managers do that. His rag a little bit there.
We've seen a lot of managers.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of managers do that very recently. But it was interesting because he knows, as he said, he's got 2 games. The cup final's a massive game for him. So to now talk about, I don't know what my future's going to be, the guy, think it or not, if you come out and say, I don't know what the situation is going to be, that's a real downside to you going into not be the manager next year.
Yeah.
Whether they think it or not, if you come out and say, I don't know what the situation is going to be, that's a real downside to you going into a cup final.
And if he's not willing to look ahead, what do you two think?
I'm taking the injuries to account and the way that they've performed, I would say no. But, they've got new owners in there wanting to do different things and I don't think they've guaranteed him that he's going to be there next year. I'd be very surprised if he was there as manager next year. But the question is, if he's not, who do you go and get?
If they win the FA...
If he's not, who do you go and get?
If they win the FA Cup final against Manchester City, could that make all the difference?
Oh, yeah, 100%. If they beat Man City, he'll be there. I don't think there'll be any doubt about that.
So do you think Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be holding on for Wembley and then making a decision?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
I think they'll wait and see. Depends. If you win that good, great. If you lose it in a bad way, then there'll probably be some problems.
Why would you upset the apple cart now? You're 2 games away from Wembley. Or I say 2 games, you've got 1 more game and then you've got Wembley. Why would you upset the apple cart right now?
OK.